At the end of this lecture, you should know why you would choose to code in Jupyter notebooks for your Python program rather than use the plain Python shell or another editor such as Sublime Text. With the TensorFlow libraries installed, all you need to do to write TensorFlow code is just a text editor. Sublime Text, Xcode, or any of the other text editors should work just fine. However, throughout this class, you'll find that we use an interactive shell on the browser. This is a Jupyter IPython notebook, and it's a great tool to use with Python in general. If you're not familiar with it already, I suggest you go ahead to this website and get it installed and set up on your machine. It's very straightforward to do so, but it basically allows you to execute your code line by line and see the results right there within your browser window. You can also add comments in Markdown. So you have comments, code, and results all in a single screen. Once you're on this page, you can click on the install button and that will take you to the instructions for installation. Again, it should be very straightforward. All you need to have is Python 3.3 or greater or Python 2.7 installed. There are multiple ways to have Jupyter Notebook set up on your machine. You can use the Anaconda distribution, which comes with Jupyter and Python combined. Because we've already set up Python, I'm going to go with the second option, that is installing Jupyter with pip. The very first step here asks us to ensure that we have the latest version of pip. We want to upgrade our pip library before we go ahead and install Jupyter. We've done this already. We know everything is up to date. Once again, notice that I'm within the virtual environment when I install Jupyter. That means my TensorFlow and Jupyter packages will be installed within my virtual environment. It won't be accessible from the outside. If you've not chosen the virtual environment, make sure you install both TensorFlow and Jupyter outside of your virtual environment. Remember, be consistent in how you start things up so that you don't run into trivial issues which just annoy you and don't help you get started working with TensorFlow. Call pip install on Jupyter. I already have a Jupyter installed, which is why it says requirement already satisfied. To get your Jupyter server running, which will host all your Jupyter notebooks being a single Python file. As an analogy, simply call Jupyter notebook on your terminal window, and this will automatically launch your browser with a home screen which looks like this. Jupyter's running, there's a localhost URL, and this is where you'll host your notebooks and create new notebooks using the new button on the top right. Now, depending on the version of Python that you have installed, it'll ask you to create Python 2 or Python 3 notebooks. I have Python 2 installed, so I'm being consistent here. If I click on Python 2, this is what a Jupyter notebook looks like, a completely empty notebook which you can name and where you can start writing code. You'll write all your code within these cells. These cells can also be comment cells, in which case you'll write markdown within it so that your comments are nicely formatted in HTML. Let's go ahead and paste our hello world code all within the single cell. In order to execute the code within the cell, you have two choices. You can hit run on the toolbar, which you see highlighted right here on screen, or even better, if you want to be mouse free, you can simply hit shift plus enter. Hit shift plus enter or click on run, and there you see it. Hello TensorFlow world. You're now ready to dive into TensorFlow programming. Jupyter IPython Notebook is an amazing browser-based interactive shell. It allows you to execute code one line at a time or multiple lines put together. It allows you to specify comments using Markdown. So you see comments well formatted in HTML, and it shows you the execution result right there on screen after every cell. These notebooks can also be saved with the comments, code, and the execution result all shown together. So they're a great way of sharing code. If I were given a choice, I would rather use Jupyter notebooks than either the Python shell or even just any other editor.